Dear friend, our guest is FIDE Chief Executive Officer Geoffrey Borg. So, Geoffrey, just say a couple of words about the organization of this event.
Well, we're always happy to be in Hanti-Mansisk. We organize many events. Already in the last 9 months, I've been here 4 times. Actually, first time was in October for the World Youth. Then we followed up with Women Grand Prix in December. And then I was here again February negotiating some things. And then finally, of course, we're here for this event. Hanti-Mansisk has a big tradition of organizing events, a very experienced team. Very easy to discuss and negotiate all ways of conditions and handling, from airport visas down to actually, the organization of the event itself.
So, are you happy with how it's going on now?
No, of course. I mean, everything is up to standard. We have top pristine playing hall. All the players are, let's say, sitting there. We have 80 players sitting inside the hall, absolutely comfortable. They have all the conditions around them, very nice hospitality. So, yes, of course, we are happy.
And usually, what is the most peculiar things at which you pay the most attention before the event?
Well, I normally first I control the light. Light is one of the first things I check inside any playing hall around the world. So I'm looking at light, I'm looking at space, the seating of the players, facilities around, smoking, toilets, refreshments, accessibility, playing zone. Then of course we start looking at non-playing conditions such as hotel, visas, traveling, flights, arrivals, meet and greet, so lots of other factors. But the first level is the actual playing hall itself.
There are very many interesting and strong players. So, whose style do you like most as a chess player?
Well, normally I'm playing things such as the accelerated dragon, very aggressive systems. So let's say you have to enjoy your chess. So comparatively here, I would say, you have some players who like to tempt fate a little bit sometimes, like Nepomniachtchi. He's always playing interesting chess. The Indian school is also playing quite aggressive chess as well, so very interesting. Each style today in chess you need to be a complete player. I think whereas in the past you could have players like Ljubojevic, Velimirovic, Mikhail Tal, who had specific styles.
Aggressive.
Today, yes, aggressive. Today you look at the top chess players, even Nakamura has mellowed a little bit and has become a much more complete chess player. Kramnik, when he was younger, was playing, Semislav with d takes c4 and playing very aggressive. Today he's playing Berlin defense, very solid. And looking for what I call percentage chess. All of them are playing more like percentage chess, which means give me the opportunity, make some mistake, and I will try and exploit it. And I make +1, +2, +3 if you're really lucky. We can see from Stavanger right now, which is just recently concluded, it's a +3, whereas Aronian was playing very interesting chess because he had that little extra, let's say Kaisa was looking a little bit with a little bit more light onto him. He was playing a little bit more interesting chess.
Okay, so speaking about Nakamura and Kramnik, there is a coincidence between Stavanger, Paris Grand Chess Tour and this World Team Chess Championship. How did this happen? So how can we in future improve these things?
Well, FIDE announced, of course, its calendar, and FIDE always announces sometimes we do have to change because organizers may have some force majeure. In this case, there was no such force majeure, but basically the other events came in at a time. They may have been negotiating with players, and it's only when FIDE announced that the Grand Chess Tour sort of came in and said, listen, guys, we do have a conflict. We've tried to solve. I spoke with a number of people, including St. Louis. We tried to move, but the calendars are so much really full all over. We talked to Russian Chess Federation again because Russian Chess Federation has its super finals. They've got their team championships, and at the end you find that you cannot move whichever way. When we went actually even up to November nearly, so which was crazy, because we were looking, and then we said, listen, guys, at the end of the day, yes, some teams will suffer a little bit. Some teams actually were nominated as wild cards, and because their players were playing in the Grand Chess Tour, basically Rajabov and and Mamedyarov, you know, and well, Russians, we didn't have too much of a problem because Russia, of course, has such a wealth of players.
Yes.
It wasn't too difficult for them, and you know, I mean, you have a lot of young players coming up like Matlakov and Fedosiev, so they gave the opportunity to these players to play. The problem is, of course, like Azerbaijan or Armenia, who depend a lot upon Mamedyarov or Aronian, they weren't comfortable with participating without their number one players. But again, of course, sometimes it's an opportunity in the World Team Championship to try, you know, and give the younger generation a chance. So we've seen this. I mean, India anyway, you know, it doesn't matter because normally Vishwanathan is not playing with the national team. So here again, they have some of their top players, but Pentala is not playing. So Hari Krishna is not playing in Stavanger, but he's playing actually in Geneva Grand Prix, which starts very soon as well.
In 2020, Khanty-Mansiysk will host the World Olympiad. So, are there any preparations underway now?
Yes, I mean, every time I visit, so this is, as I said, 4 visits in 9 months. Every time I visit, we discuss with the organizers, who is Ugra Chess Federation, together with Ugra Megasport. We discuss the developments. Yesterday, again, and very briefly, I just discussed with the governor of Khanty-Mansiysk what's happening. And they are looking at purpose projects, which means, you know, specifically built mainly for this reason. They will continue to expand, you know, the hotel capacity that they have in Khanty-Mansiysk. And secondly, they will look at building a specific building simply for the event, which eventually, from legacy purposes, will be used as a multi-sports center.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey.
It's a pleasure.
Good luck.
Always.